up, you guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, my name is Lexi. Thank you for joining me today. I will put my Instagram down below, but if you are not new here, thank you for returning. As always, I appreciate you. So I've got a video planned today that I think you guys are going to enjoy. So if you have not yet checked out my Shit They Don't Tell You About Bikini Prep video and video series, go and check that out. I'll put the thumbnail to the first one I ever did up here, but a while ago, I made a video called Shit They Don't Tell You About Bikini Prep, kind of just wanting to shed light on exactly that, this shit they don't tell you about bikini prep, because I feel like it is a sport, it is a, I guess I could kind of say hobby, thing that people do that a lot of times we don't talk about the unglamorous side of it. So that's why I made that video, just to shed light on some of the things that people don't really talk about, that are kind of, I guess, funny too. So go and check out that video if you have not already. Share it, I would really appreciate that. But that leads me to kind of touch on what I'm going to be talking about today, and that is on the topic of bikini prep, but I'm going to talk about myths versus facts. So bikini prep myths versus facts. So I am sure all of you guys watching have heard a ton of different things, some a little scary, about bikini prep, and you're like, holy crap, holy, what, Lexi, is that true, is that not? So I'm here to kind of give you guys the rundown on what's a myth, what's a fact, and what to believe and what not to believe. Now, I do want to preface this video by saying I'm not here to be biased about anything. I am a coach, a bikini prep coach myself. I am a competitor, but I am not somebody who believes my way is the only highway. So everything that I'm saying in this video, I am open to always hearing other perspectives, but I don't want you guys to, think that anything I'm saying in this video is the only way. But I'm going to give you guys the lowdown on what's a myth versus what's a fact. So I have a list of 10 different things. So we're going to start off with the myth that to be a bikini competitor, you don't need any muscle. Now, I feel like that is kind of more of an outdated myth, but if you look at bikini 10 years ago, if you look at the competitions and who was winning 10 years ago, you will see that the girls just didn't have a ton of muscle. It just looked more kind of like an everyday go to the beach look, right? And I think that's where that myth stemmed from, that bikini girls don't have any muscle, because it's absolutely untrue. Look at the top level girls now. I will post a couple pictures of some top level bikini pro athletes. Now granted, they're pro, they're the best of the best, but you can see how much muscle density they have. So the old bikini doesn't have any muscle. Total myth. Now, bikini is the division in bodybuilding that has the least amount of muscle, but that is not to be confused with the fact that bikini has no muscle. Totally a different thing. So that is number one, totally a myth. Number two, and I laugh at this one because I'm sure some of you guys are going to laugh as well, but the myth that we eat nothing on bikini prep, or that we barely eat anything. Because the reason I laugh is I feel of course everybody's going to be different. Everybody consumes different amounts of food throughout prep. There's not just one set calorie amount that's going to work for everybody. But I laugh because at least I know that in the beginning stages of my prep, I feel like I'm sometimes still eating more than my family. So it's funny to me that a lot of people assume, or even sometimes my family will be oh, they don't she doesn't eat a lot on bikini prep, because they see you shrinking, they see your body shrinking, so they are going to assume, oh, you're eating nothing, when I laugh because I still feel through at least the first half of my prep, I'm usually still eating the same, if not more food than most average people. Now, of course, when you get closer to your show, you're probably going to be eating a lot less. But that is a myth that I feel a lot of just the general public sometimes assumes. And I think it just stems from people see us get so lean that they assume, oh my God, they're not eating anything, or they're starving themselves. But we're still eating, right? This sport is not just about withering away to nothing. We have to eat enough food to still keep our muscle. But that is myth number two, and I'm sure some of you guys maybe laugh and can resonate with that. Just with friends and family or whatever, and you're no, dude, I literally eat probably more than you still. So that's myth number two, that bikini competitors eat nothing. Total myth. Okay, the third thing is, you must go on PEDs to be a bikini competitor. Now, I feel like this is one I shouldn't have to say. However, I am always very surprised by how many girls I will get that would just like randomly reach out to me on Instagram and they're like, oh, Lexi, I started with a coach or whatever. They're suggesting PEDs. Like, do you think that's necessary? And my answer is straight up absolutely not. If a coach tells you, especially as a first-time competitor, that you need PEDs to compete in bikini, that is a red flag. And I've talked about that before, but you do not need PEDs to compete in bikini. You know, in fact, you don't need PEDs, like quote unquote need PEDs, or you're not required to use PEDs, which are performance enhancing drugs for those of you that don't know. You don't need any of that in bodybuilding. However, the higher up you get, like the bigger divisions like figure, you know, wellness, even women's physique, those females are typically like, it's more of a regular thing then. But for bikini, you know, you don't need PEDs. They're not required, nor do I feel like you need them to be successful. And the reason I say that is because I know plenty of people who have done really well at, you know, the amateur level, but then have gone on to turn pro naturally. So it can be done, but oftentimes, yes, genetics plays a role, but oftentimes the thing is just time. You have to put in your time. You know, if you want to be successful, you have to put in time. You know, if you're a natural athlete, it's going to take a little bit more time to build the muscle, whereas if you're an enhanced athlete, it's not. But that is a total myth. You absolutely do not need PEDs to compete in bikini, or you do not need PEDs in bikini prep. So that is a complete myth, and I just want to put that out there. Okay, so I believe this is the fourth one. Yes, fourth one is, okay, and another one you may laugh at, but I feel like there is just this like fixation with tilapia. Everybody thinks that, oh my gosh, like they associate bikini prep with tilapia, or bikini prep with tilapia and like asparagus, and like no, I don't even know if I ate tilapia in my prep, you know. And I say, like, I feel like people think tilapia is this magical food that like all bikini competitors are eating, but you guys, tilapia is nothing but white fish that has mainly protein and very little fat, right? Of course, you're gonna get, you know, the benefits of the fish, like the micronutrients from it, but there is nothing magical about tilapia. Let me just put it out there. And I think most people know this by now, but like my general consensus is if you don't like tilapia as a bikini competitor, you should not be forced to eat tilapia as you're like shoveling it down your throat, gagging during prep. Like, you should not be forced to eat something that you don't like or that you can't tolerate. Like, I don't get it, but I feel like a lot of people have this fixation towards tilapia, and they feel like it's this magical food that does all this magical stuff, and like that's a complete myth. Tilapia is great if you like tilapia, but also if you don't like tilapia, like you can eat another white fish that has the same amount of protein, same amount of fat per serving size. Like it's not a magical food. I'm just putting it out there. So that's myth number, I believe, 4. Tilapia is not magical. It's great, but it's also, like I said, not magical. If you don't like it, don't like feel like you have to shovel it down your throat and like, yeah, force yourself to eat it. It's not magical. So anywho, moving on to number 5. So, you know, this one is something that like sometimes I get very passionate about, but you know, I think that the myth is like that sometimes people look at this sport or bikini or competing in bikini as just kind of like another challenge. Oh, I want to take things to the next level. I'm kind of just looking for a little challenge, right? And you know, I think it can sometimes work out really well for people that are like, oh, I want a little bit of a challenge, but more often times than not, I don't think people realize how much work truly does go into prep. Like, it's not just another little challenge. Like, it is a big, like, it's a lifestyle, right? It's gonna take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of effort. It's going to take a lot of sacrifices, let alone it's going to take a lot of money. So it's not just this like little one and done challenge, you know, because I see people all the time, like they get kind of bored in the gym and they're like, oh, I want like a little challenge. And then they, you know, want to prep for a show. But in my opinion, I feel like you need to kind of live the bodybuilding lifestyle a little bit before you endeavor a bikini prep, just because of all the sacrifices and all of the time it takes and all the money it costs. You really want to make sure that you're like actually gonna like it, you know, and you want to make sure you know what to expect. So I feel like it is kind of a myth that like bikini prep is just another little challenge, or because like it's not a little challenge, it's a big challenge, and it's gonna consume a lot of your time and your life as well. So that's number 5, which kind of goes along with number 6, and it is the idea that bikini prep in general is like a short-term goal, because I get girls all the time, because I am a coach myself, and I get girls all all the time that, I have a phone call with, because I always have phone calls with people before they enroll for coaching with me. And I have a lot of people that will be like, oh, I really want to prep. I'm looking at this show like in 8 weeks. What do you think? For very, very few people, that's realistic. Like if I have somebody that comes to me, they're in tip-top shape, and all that stuff, like maybe that's realistic, like 1% of the time. But for the vast majority of people, once you get the idea that you want to prep for a show, you have to first ask yourself, how much muscle do I have in my frame? Like, do I need to maybe spend some time building muscle before I prep? So my point is, the myth that this is a short-term goal, that this is something that's going to happen just in like 8 to 12 weeks from when you actually decide you want to do it, is highly unlikely. Very rarely, like I said, do I get people who are like, I want to prep for this show in 8 weeks. And I'm like, yeah, you are ready. I mean, I could tell them that, but then I'd be setting them up for failure, right? Where they probably wouldn't enjoy the experience as much, or get on stage with a package they are proud of. So bikini prep, I think, needs to start being looked at as a longer term goal. It's not something that's going to happen overnight, but that should be something that's motivating and exciting to you, because it truly is a process, and it's a marathon. It's definitely not a sprint. So next little myth is that you have to do a ton of cardio on the Stairmaster, or you have to do a ton of sprints, or you just have to do a ton of like just balls to the walls, high intensity cardio in bikini prep. And again, I'm, like I said at the beginning of this video, I am not somebody who's like, my way is the only way, because I'm very open to every approach, right? And I truly feel like most coaches have a rationale behind what they're doing. Not everyone, but most do. But the whole idea that you have to do HIIT cardio, or that you have to like completely just like go balls to the walls and do all this crazy cardio on prep, like intensity wise, is a myth. And the reason I say that is because I know that like with the girls I prep, and with my coach specifically, Paul Ravella, like him and I, we prescribe incline walking, steady state cardio. Every once in a while, depending on the client, I may, throw in a HIIT session or two. But I put this out there because I want to get away from people thinking that the only type of cardio that's effective during a prep phase is HIIT cardio, is sprints, or, Stairmaster sprints, or whatever it may be. And I think that people, the reason they assume that is because of the old school bodybuilding ways, but also I think it's just in our general human nature to assume that, as we get farther and farther into a prep, that it's going to get more intense, and that cardio will also need to get harder and get more intense. But I just know, like with my clients, I prescribe incline walking. Paul Ravella, my coach, who you can go check out, I'll put he has a YouTube channel, but I'll put his Instagram below. He has many successful bikini pros. He prescribes steady state cardio. So it's absolutely possible to get stage lean without doing a ton of HIIT cardio, if that makes sense. So the whole myth that you have to do HIIT cardio, and that you have to like do all this crazy cardio, like intensity wise, during a prep is, in my opinion, a myth. Does it work for some people? To a degree, yes. I don't think it's smart to be doing HIIT cardio like 6 days a week, because your body is not going to recover from that. But I don't think it's a bad idea. Like if somebody responds well to HIIT, to maybe do a few sessions. But that is that myth. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is, or not second, this is like, I think this is number 8, is that on bikini prep, you have to go on a boring meal plan, or you have to go on a super strict meal plan. Now, yes, there are some coaches out there that give meal plans that are super bland, that are super generic. Personally, I, as a coach, and my coach, Paul, we give macros. So what I do is I give my clients macros, their protein, their fat, and their carb goal. And what I generally recommend is you should probably still create a weekly meal plan for yourself so you can keep your foods consistent. And limit any variability, but I want you to create a meal plan that you like, with foods you like and that digest well for you. Again, going back to the whole tilapia thing, I don't want to tell somebody they have to eat tilapia if they don't want to eat tilapia, or they don't like tilapia, right? So the old, idea that you have to eat a really boring and bland and restrictive meal plan on bikini prep, that is a total myth. And, it excites me and, makes me proud to see a lot of coaches these days going more towards the whole macros approach. Because like I said, I give my clients macros, and I do still recommend in prep that you kind of create your own meal plan, but you get to create your own meal plan based off of food sources that you like, right? If you don't like tilapia, maybe you do chicken instead. Or if you don't like rice, maybe you're getting carbs from oatmeal or sweet potatoes, right? So the fact that you have to eat on a meal plan, like that's super boring and basic and like tilapia and rice and almonds for every meal, that's a total myth. So the last 2 myths I'm about to dispel, just you wait. The 9th one is that you will lose your hair during bikini prep. And some of you guys may have heard this before. Some of you guys may be like, Lexi, I don't know what you're talking about, but there is a myth that I've heard it before that like on bikini prep, you may start to lose your hair or your nails may be brittle. And that is not a normal thing, nor is that something that you really want to happen. Like if that is happening, you need to probably go seek out some like medical help or whatever, just because that's probably a sign that something is off internally, right? I'm not a medical professional, so I'm not going to go into depth on that, but I have done 5 shows and my hair has not fallen out at any of them. All of my clients, from what I have gotten like word on, have not lost their hair, have not experienced hair loss. So, you do hear some people say though that, oh, I started to lose my hair, it was coming out in clumps, or my nails started to become brittle. And that's not a normal thing, you guys, and nor is that like a healthy thing. That should be kind of a red flag that, hey, I need to look at my approach and like maybe alter what I'm doing because this is not the best for my health. So that is not myth number 9. And then myth number 10, is that anybody can do this and that it's just another hobby to check off your bucket list. Now, for some people, they do a bikini prep because it's a bucket list item, and like I'm all for that. But this is a sport that requires serious discipline, serious time commitment, serious financial commitment. I think anybody watching this, and please comment below if you agree, anybody watching this who has gone through a bikini prep knows how much time and sacrifice it takes. And it is one of the most rewarding things ever. Don't get me wrong, but it is just it's not something just anybody can do. It takes a certain amount of discipline, perseverance, commitment, mental grit to do this, right? So that's why, like, whenever I inquire with clients who want to prep, I really like to make sure that they are somebody who can handle a bikini prep, because last thing I would want is for somebody to start a bikini prep, get halfway through and realize, holy crap, this is so much different than I thought, so much harder than I thought, and then have to drop out, right? So that wraps up my list of 10 myths. So I hope you guys enjoyed this bikini prep fact versus myth, or bikini prep myth spelling video. I do hope you guys enjoyed it. So please share it if you liked it, or if you feel like, it should be seen by other people. I would love it if you shared it. In fact, like it if you enjoyed this video. Comment below if there are any other myths that you can think of, or any of the ones I discussed. If you agree with them, comment below. I'd love to hear it. But let's connect on Instagram if we are not already connected. Again, I'll put my Instagram up here. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope that wherever you guys are at in the world, that you have a great rest of your day.